Hey, y'all. This is Shawne Johnson.
Tracy Davis hyphen Johnson.
Yes, and this is Tea and Cornbread, a conversation with us. How are you? How are you? How are you? It's March and it is Women's Month, National Women's Month. And so we wanted to have a conversation about the influences that we had growing up. I'm going to talk about my mom and my grandmother, and that was like the biggest influence in my life. And Tracy, you're going to talk about who?
I'm going to talk about my mom.
Okay.
I am. Right. I'm going to talk about my mom.
Yes. When we talk about National Women's Month, it's like, okay, what does that mean? I noticed some postings and things when they were posting stars like Oprah or whoever to just say, these are the people that have done this or been so influential in the world or whatever that is. But for me, it's my grandmother and my mother that shaped me. And I don't know about you, but you know how you grow up saying, I'm never going to say this, or I'm never going to say that.
I'm not going to make my children do this.
Do what my mother did when I was a kid. When I have kids, I'm not going to. That is not the truth.
It's not. Guess what you end up doing when you realize it? You do exactly what your mama did.
Your mother and your grandmother, or whoever, that had the most influence on you. You definitely do it. But we are going to have tea and cornbread.
We are tea.
Yes, we got our tea. And we have our cornbread. And so have your tea. Get you some tea because this is going to be a great little conversation.
It is. It is. And sit back and think about who that person, like Shawne said, that helped shape you, that helped mold you. I started off saying that it was my mom, but we do have, outside of even Shawne saying her grandmother and her mom, there are lots of women in our lives throughout our paths that had helped, to shape us. You got aunties, you got older cousins, you even have neighbors. A lot of times you're going to hear us say, earlier today, we referenced back to Pearl Lake. We have the moms that were out there.
Oh my goodness.
Big ups to them because we were a community. You know what? We lived in a cul-de-sac back in the day and we didn't even realize it.
Right. It was a cul-de-sac. They called it the project, but it was a cul-de-sac.
It was our little cul-de-sac. Yes, we didn't even realize how happy and lucky we are to have grown up around all those people. All those women out there that helped shape and influence us. So we'll touch upon that a little bit today.
Yes, yes.
So you just sit back, listen, and think about it.
Yeah, think about it. And one of the things that I thought about when we were talking about, okay, this is what we're going to do. I thought about what are my top traits that I think influenced me that I got from my mother and my grandmother and the other women around us, because we were raised by a village. You know what I mean? And that's what's missing today with, most of these kids is sad. But we were raised by a village. And so when she said the projects, let me tell you, our projects was multiracial. It wasn't just black. It wasn't just, whatever. It was multiracial.
We had white, Puerto Rican.
Yeah, we had the same amount of white families, black families,
a little mix, a little sprinkle of this.
Exactly. Matter of fact, I saw Miss Rosa.
Oh,
I saw her. Yes, in the elevator in the building. She lives in the same building as my mother-in-law. And I looked at her and I said, I know you. She said, I know you. And oh my goodness. So that is the testament of how we grew up, right? So when we talk about different moms, my mother and my grandma, I'm just going to throw these words out here.
Go ahead.
My top traits I think I got from them and the women in my life, even still today, is strength, wisdom, tenacity, resilience, commitment, loving, family, and games.
Games?
Yep. They were board game players. We played games all the time.
Not just board games, cards.
Well, cards. Yes.
Don't forget cards.
Yes. We played games all the time. And I told somebody that one a couple years ago, and they were looking at me, and I said, "Yeah, that's what we did." And I carry that going.
Yeah, I have a box of board games that we played back in the day. I'm just trying to think. Monopoly, Yahtzee.
Yeah.
We have it downstairs, and even today we play Pekino when we get together. We play Black Card Revolt when we get together. Little Pictionary, and it's not unique to our little group,
Right.
but we're just saying these are things that, we did with our families that we still do with our family and our friends.
Absolutely. So give us some top traits that you think you
I think a lot of them you hit on.
Mhm.
I think the strength, I think I a lot of times we didn't pay attention, but they were educating us every time they got a chance
Absolutely.
to, when we sit back and we listen. One of the things too is music. I love all genres of music. People say, well, what kind of music do you like? And I swear I say everything. And people look at me like, huh? Yeah, no, I do. I like everything. My father used to have reel-to-reels in the house. And I know we're talking about our mothers, but that's where the music came from. His library of albums and things that he had. Even, when your mother talked to you and certain stuff she used to say, we didn't want to hear it. We blocked it out. But at the same time, we were kind of listening. And then we say, okay, I see what she was talking about. They were educating us before we even knew they were educating us. They were teaching us, and grooming us to be young ladies.
Absolutely.
Being
respectful,
decent young ladies at the end of the day, But I really want to say, I think one of the strongest things is my mother's strength. I just say is her strength, is her knowledge of stuff. Those are some of the things that I just take away. Her love for her family, honestly, just her love for her family at the end of the day. That means a lot. And that carries with you. You hope to carry it on with your children and your grandchildren and hope that they get it and they pass it on down to the next generation. Right. So
I think when you like you said, the love for the family, my mother and my grandmother took in strays all the time. You know what I'm saying? And the strays.
It's so funny when she says strays, because my mind goes somewhere else when I think of strays, but I know what she's about to say.
Right.
About the different people. And you say that, and not to take the conversation, but my grandmother did the same thing. My Miss Graham, she took in foster children.
Yes. Yeah.
For years and for years. And not even realizing then growing up what a great thing that was.
I was just about to say,
what a powerful thing that was for them to still show love. My grandmother had children and had plenty of grandchildren. So on top of that, to bring in
them to be
more,
homeless.
Yes.
My grandmother was the foster mother from the time I was 13 until she was in her 80s.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's only because she was older and really couldn't control anything anymore. You know what I mean? But other than that, she was known in DCF, as that person. Yep. And they gave her all kinds of, she even kept a journal of the boys, and she fostered over 100 boys. And she took pride in that. Whenever she said it, she was saying, I fostered over 100 boys. She didn't like taking girls. She didn't take girls because she said girls can have babies and all kinds of stuff. So she wouldn't take girls.
They was having babies by them boys.
Exactly, right? So, but she took in the boys. And let me tell you, they stayed in my grandmother's house for a long period of time, to a point where I don't call them foster cousins, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You didn't use those words. Cousins. They were your cousins. Yeah.
I call them my cousins, right? Yeah. And when we see each other now, even in the street, we'll see each other and say, hey, cuz, that kind of thing. Their kids, consider me their cousins and stuff like that. So that is a big, that love. You know what I mean? They didn't discriminate on who they loved, right?
No, they
even didn't. Though she did. Yes, she did. She didn't love the girls. She wouldn't take the girls.
Well, she didn't. It's not that she didn't love them. She didn't have them to love them. Yeah, but she did not love them. She didn't bring them in not to love them. Right. She had a preference, and I guess maybe she's seen more of a impact that she could do with the boys. Maybe that's just what it was,
Yep. And they respected her. They they had such respect for her. They looked out for her. I'm not going to say that she didn't have no problems with them, because she did have problems, but she had problems with her own grandkids. She had problems with,
that would be only
with her
natural.
son. She had problems with, what I mean?
That's
nieces
natural.
and nephews. So that didn't matter. But yeah, when you think about their strength, their love for family, and family was always extended. Yeah. I have so many cousins that were not biologically related, right? We're not biologically related. I have brothers and a sister that we're not biologically related.
And as grown-ups, we still say that, and people will look at you and say, "How that's your cousin?"
Right?
You listen. Don't worry.
It's none of your business.
Don't worry about it. That's my cousin.
It is what it is, right?
Yes, that's my cousin.
But someone said it best. I heard this phrase recently. Blood is thicker than water, but water is clearer.
There you go.
Boom.
Enough
Was that a
said.
mic drop?
That
What they
was,
call it?
we
They
didn't
call
got
it
one. Mic drop.
or bars. No, bars. They call that was a bar. I don't know.
I don't know
We're
either.
trying to,
We'll say
trying to
mic
be
drop because that's what I'm thinking it is. Even talking about my mom, I'm just sitting here thinking when Shawne walked into my house just now, I have my what do we call it? My diffuser going.
Mhm.
Now, honestly, I put the diffuser on and I do put it on, but I also every day when I get up, I burn my incense. And that just brings me back. That brings me back to home, to my mom, that ethnic part of her too.
Mhm.
And I think that's another thing that she has instilled, like to love who you are, no matter what, to love your Blackness and not be ashamed of it. And it wasn't that they were toting around, you are Black and you don't like this person, you don't like that person, but they wanted you to always feel comfortable with who you were,
With who you are.
your skin, your hair. I remember back in school, I had the worst, I think I may have told this story before. I had a picture day. The picture was, listen, it was the worst picture ever in this world. The picture guy sent it back and he said to my mom, he will take my pictures over again for free. That's how bad the picture was to me. I was a little girl. My mother sent back, you're not taking this picture over because there's nothing wrong with it. Do you know how deep that is for a little girl to hear that?
That is.
She didn't see anything wrong with that picture. And she sent that man back a note and said, oh, no, you will not. There is nothing wrong with this picture. This picture is beautiful.
Wow.
And I just said, wow. That's what I said.
Wow.
As a little kid, because I don't see that. I didn't see it. I saw what the man said was, oh, there's an ugly picture. Little girl, you look ugly. So that too, you have to remember that they instilled that on us way before all this stuff we got going on now, to always love who we are. Absolutely. Regardless. Don't be ashamed of our hair, how we wear our hair. I love my hair. I do. And I love this.
Yeah, okay.
Because of them.
Right.
Because of the woman in my life.
You know what's crazy that you even thought, I mean, you have that memory that far back.
I still have the picture. I'm gonna bring one day I'm gonna show y'all the picture.
Okay.
I'm gonna find the picture and show y'all.
Memory that far back.
I had on a blue and white, I had on a blue shirt, a white little I remember it. My hair was a mess. I remember the picture. That's how come home. The man said.
Listen, I laugh because my pictures, I can tell when I did my hair and when my mother did.
Yes.
I can tell. But that's so great. So just imagine those that are listening. You think about those moments, right? Because you were in grammar school.
I was in grammar school.
You were in grammar school, and you remember your mother saying, "This is beautiful." No, anyway, you might think it's ugly, but that's my baby. This is beautiful.
She said, "We taking this picture over." I said,
"Right." And just imagine now, because people are so judgmental. You gotta have the best this, the best that.
Yes.
You
have to look a certain way, right?
All the time.
Right.
I'll tell you, I don't look put together all the time. And sometimes it's like, why are we putting that pressure on ourselves? As we get older. When we were younger, we didn't have to worry about certain things. We didn't have to worry about bills. We didn't have the stress of, right? And as we got older, with what was instilled in us and what we instilled in our kids, you know what I mean? I love that what you just said, that made a big difference in who you portrayed, who you are today, and how you carry yourself.
Yeah. Because it builds up your confidence, because you do. We get up as grown people, women, thinking, I don't look good and I don't feel good.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we are beautiful, no matter what.
Especially as a Black woman.
Yes. Because there's a lot that I could do with this face and this hair.
There's
so
I could do with me, period.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank you.
Our hair, everything. And I'm a hairdresser, and I've been doing hair since I was 10? Maybe even 10. When you in 6th grade? I was in 6th grade. First time I started getting paid. No, I was 10. I wasn't in 6th grade.
You was in 5th grade.
Yeah.
You wasn't moved up a grade.
Babysitting, right? Babysitting and doing that. But going back to our moms and our grandmothers, my mother instilled the strength. I mean, my mother was a force to be reckoned with. Period. Right? My father was laid back, so I have a combination of the both of them in me, and I always say that. I go, listen, don't underestimate me, and don't take me for granted, because I'm not out here cursing people out and acting a fool in the streets. I don't have time for it, right? But at the same time, don't underestimate me.
Right.
That's where I get that from my mom. My dad, on the other hand, is laid back and we go, yeah, whatever, you know, and keep going. And I'm able to make that discernment of when I need to let somebody know, okay,
Or
you
just step back.
Yeah.
Let this.
So when you think about those different traits that we get and, you know, how they instill those things, those little things, right? One other thing my mother always made sure that, yeah, I'm a girl, but I could stick up for myself.
Yes, definitely
You
had
know,
to. You had to.
Always stick up for yourself.
Mhm.
Don't let nobody take advantage of you. Don't let nobody, you know, tell you that you're not this or you're not that.
You're not worthy, you're less
or
than.
any of that.
Yes.
She was that one that, no, don't do it.
Yeah.
And she taught that very early. So when you're talking about your mom saying, no, there's nothing wrong with this picture, your perception was exactly what she wanted you to know.
Look, I went
That
to
you to
school
stick
like a
with it.
little. I couldn't wait to go back to
With a
school to
better-
tell that
better-
lady.
Yeah,
You gonna tell that
better
man? My
step.
mama said ain't nothing wrong with this picture, and we not taking them over.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly. So that, you know, that is what I love about the way we were raised. I love that. And then, and I go back to Felicia Rashad and the Cosbys when they did their, I think it was the 20th anniversary or something. I saw them on the Today Show, and Matt Lauer, you know, them people, they what did he say? He says, do you think that the Cosby Show had an influence on the way Black families are today? Felicia waited for everybody to say what they had to say. I'll never forget it. Felicia waited for her to say, Miss Rashad, right? She said, no. She says, that's the way our families were. You all just didn't see it.
Exactly.
She says, I was happy that the Cosby Show was a show that you can finally see that we live this way. This is how we live.
Yeah.
She's like, so no. She says, we were living like this way before television.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? She says, way before you all thought it was okay, right? And so I love that answer. I love when she said that, because we as a people are being brainwashed little by little, because sometimes we forget where we came from and the strength and the tenacity and the kings and queens that we come from and that we are. Yes, that we come from and that we are. We made this country. We made this country. We civilized people. You know what I'm saying? Like, we were instrumental in civilizing people, right? The English and things like that. And we won't go down that rabbit hole. But at the same time, the purpose of us even having this conversation is to confirm and affirm that
women are.
We are the strongest women on the planet. We are the strongest women on the planet.
And we don't sit here like we don't go through stuff and we haven't been through things, because we definitely have. We're human at the end of the day. But we also know that, as Shawne has said, that our past, you know, our upbringing is who we are. Is who we hope that we're presenting in a positive manner,
right?
For not just ourselves, for our children, for our grandchildren, for the people around us. You know, we talk about where we grew up at. It's totally different. You know, growing up to that brainwash of, oh, you know, I want to live in a house. Honestly, if I could go back, I would live out Pearl Lake versus them living in a house
and raise our kids there.
And the purpose of that is because of that unity.
That unity, yes.
That, you know what, I'm not going to make it home at time, but could you make sure such and such gets off the bus or whatever, or you can call somebody. I don't feel that in the neighborhood, and maybe it's the neighborhood I'm in. And I'm not knocking my neighbors, and I'm not trying to take the conversation somewhere else, but that unity that we had with those, like we said, those mothers out there. Utmost respect.
Absolutely.
We had to respect them no matter what. And they knew if they said something, you better do it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. And our mothers, like she said, they were strong women. Having our fathers in the house was a plus.
Yeah.
And I say a plus because you talk to other people. Not everybody grew up like that. Right. But our mom was the one that laid down the law at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So maybe a part of that comes out of me at times, you know, of trying to be so strong,
right?
Hold everything on my shoulders when I can't carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. You know what I mean? Sometimes we got to share, we got to talk, We got to bend somebody else's ear. So just woman to woman, like Shawne said, and for it being, Women's Month, just love on somebody, talk to somebody, sit down and get to know somebody.
Right.
Because you don't know people's story at the end of the day. You don't know what somebody has been through or what's going on in somebody's life. People, when, such and such is acting weird or acting funny. Invite them over for tea.
Ask them why.
Pick up the phone
Invite
and
them
say,
over
hey.
for tea. Yes.
Pick up the phone and say, hey, is everything okay?
Is everything all right?
When
you're thinking of people, call them.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a world of difference, because especially when you're not calling because you need something or talking about gossip or whatever. When you call someone to just say, I'm just thinking about you. That's one of my favorite things to do. And I don't do it just to be calling people. I'll do it because I'm genuinely thinking about that person, and I will call them and say, I'm just calling to say thank you. I'll leave a message if they don't answer. I'll leave a message and I'll just say, you don't have to call me back. I'm just letting you know that you're being thought of, plain and simple.
Yes.
And when that happens, sometimes it just lifts your spirit, lifts your vibration, and you feel good doing it and you feel good receiving it.
Exactly.
So that's one of the other things too. My grandmother used to just write notes. Got to get back to that.
Gone are those days. You can do it again. You could start it, but gone are those days.
She used to write notes to her friends that lived out of state, and I'm not even out of state. She used to write notes to her friends here in
I shouldn't say gone are those days. I don't do it, so that doesn't mean it's not being done.
Right. But she did that. She did that, and I remember that. One of the things we're talking about is unity, right? And in our community, we said we want to bring back unity in our community. So in our city, for those that are not familiar, in our city, they're giving us a bad rap because our city is an urban area, it's a food desert, it's, all of that, right? Crime, all of that. And when people talk about our city, I wouldn't trade it. I said, because you know what? We were brought up by Black excellence. So it wasn't always what people are depicting it to be right now. Right. But the people that I know that I'm having this conversation with that grew up here, it's like, listen to me. We are responsible for bringing it back. We are responsible for being those women in the community, because now they're gone, right? My grandmother's gone. Your mom is gone. My mom is gone. They're gone. Those people, those pillars of the community are gone, and there are a lot of people here in these organizations that are really trying to bring it back, right? Bring it back, or it's not even so much bring it back, just do it, just do it, just be it, right? But when we talk about what's next, right? It's Women's Month. What are we gonna do to close out? What are we gonna do
to give back
for the next generation? Young ladies, like my jam, I love to have adolescent girls around to encourage them. I like to just swoop them up and let's go do something, right? And it's not always doing a spa day or whatever. It could be roller skating, it could be
anything fun,
bowling, it could be just a fun day out, just to have fun, go to the movies, things like that. What is it that we can do to keep that legacy going?
I think one thing we need to do,
I'm gonna take a bite of the cornbread.
Please do. One thing we need to do, I know you just mentioned a lot of fun things, but as you drive up and down these neighborhoods, the litter.
We
need to get out there and clean around your neighborhood.
Yeah. We're doing that. What day? April 22nd is
clean up Connecticut.
No,
clean up
what is it? No, it's Earth Day.
Well, okay. I need to be honest, and I need to do that. And I need to start, being committed to doing that. So I'm gonna put that on my calendar to make a commitment to join, because that's one thing you need to do with them, is to get them into community service. And fun days are good. You can do it a fun day in addition to, but you also want to teach them to give back. Give back to people who may be a little bit less fortunate than they are. Give back to people who may not have any, whatever it may be. Let's go shopping for somebody. You find somebody that may need certain stuff. So roller skating, the things that you mentioned, I think those are good things to do, but also let's let them give back to their community.
Teach them. So like today, today I knew these 2 little boys were gonna be there. I was like, I need y'all want to make some money? I need y'all to do this for me. Them little boys did not want to do it. I said, you got to do it right. You're not doing it right. So, but if nobody teaches them, they come with their grandmother all the time.
Yeah. If they don't know, how do I know if you don't show me?
Right. And that's what I learned from my mother and my grandmother. When kids were around, you give them something to do.
Yeah.
You teach them how to do it right. You know what I mean? And you encourage them in some way, shape, or form, so that when they're doing things, they want to do it and they do it at the best they know how, and they just keep practicing stuff like that.
Because common sense is not common.
It's not common.
And we do, people say, yes, it is. No, it's not.
We
you
can
talk to 2 people
and
and I can ask a question and they don't know. And I'm thinking, huh? Like, I have even said certain words to my children, and my children are older, and they're like, what? And I'm like, you don't know what that word is, but it's not in their vocabulary. It's a word that I may have grew up on, or doing something in a certain way. Common sense is not all that common, and we have to stop saying that it is, because it's not.
Right.
And I say that based off of what Shawne just said. If we don't teach them, and it is up to us. It's up to us as mothers
to keep that legacy,
to keep that going. It's up to us as grandmothers, as neighbors. You know what I'm saying? And I think sometimes you do get a little bit leery. And I'll say this because if I don't know the children too well, you don't want to direct them or correct them. I'm walking through the mall and their mouths are foul. And I'm just looking at them like, I really want to say something to you, mister or young lady, but I don't. Because
I say something. I do all the time. And I say it because it's automatic, not because I'm trying to be anything different or whatever. No,
right.
That's the way we grew up.
Right.
And
well, they shouldn't be talking like that in front of you.
Yeah, but they don't know better. And if you don't check them, or if you don't, I shouldn't say check them. If you don't educate them on why they should be more respectful of elders and know when the elders are around and have sense enough to close their mouth when you're there.
Do they not know better?
But
as a teenager, they know better. They're just disrespectful.
No, I don't believe so, because they don't know better if they're not being taught at home. Not everybody.
Well, wait a minute. You can't blame it on home.
We're going on a tangent.
You can't blame it on home.
Listen, this ain't got nothing to do with the topic at the beginning. So we gotta stop. We gotta stop.
Yeah, let's go back. We really did go left. We went left.
Yeah, but at the same time, let's break a little bit. We're gonna get back to the subject. We're gonna get back to the subject, but we're gonna end it at the same time, because we just wanted to say and pay homage to the women in our life that shaped us to who we are today.
Yes.
And I hope you all like this conversation, love this conversation. I hope you subscribe, follow us, and make a comment. Let us know who that person is. What traits did you take on that you were influenced by? That special person. Yes. And if you don't have that, if it's not coming to your mind right away, because sometimes we're clouded by all the negativity that we grew up with and we hold on to it, right? But you don't have to be who your negative, the negative piece of you. Everybody has that. But let's see if you can jog your memory and just pick out some positive thoughts, some positive traits that you took on from the biggest influence in your life, the women, the biggest woman influence in your life. So thank you, Tracy.
Thank you, Shawne.
All right. Then we had our tea and our cornbread.
Yes, and we will talk to you next time.
We will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.